Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something a lot of you have been asking about. Daily yoga, but like for beginners.
Yeah,
And specifically, we're looking at this routine that claims just 10 minutes a day can make a real difference.
10 minutes, that's it.
Right. I was skeptical too. I mean,
It almost sounds too good to be true.
it does, but then I saw it mentions like less stress, better posture, more energy. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
Especially if it's, not a huge time commitment.
Totally. A lot of people think you need hours to get any benefit from yoga, but that's just a myth.
Okay, so let's get into the science behind this.
Mm.
The article mentions there's actual research backing up these claims of short bursts of yoga being effective.
Yeah, it's super interesting. So, yoga combines exercise, right, with mindfulness. And we know even a little movement is good for you physically.
Makes sense.
But then when you add in that focus on your breath, on being present, that's where the mental boost comes in. It's
Yeah.
like a double whammy of good stuff. I like that, a double whammy. So it's not just about like getting bendy, it's about calming your mind at the same time,
Exactly.
which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this routine we're looking at, it starts off with something super simple, like a full minute of deep breathing.
The foundation.
But I gotta admit, sometimes I feel like I'm not even doing that right. Like, is there a technique?
The technique is really just to pay attention to your breath.
Okay.
Like really focus on it. Each inhale, think of it as bringing in fresh energy, and each exhale, you're letting go of tension. It's like hitting the reset button on your whole system.
I love that image, hitting reset.
And it's so important because it preps your body for the movement to come.
So we're breathing, we're chilled, we're ready to move. The article lists 8 poses total. Are we going to try to cover them all?
We can hit the highlights, especially the ones that are super beneficial for beginners.
Perfect.
Some might sound basic, like mountain pose, but they're
Mountain
foundational.
pose. That's just standing, right?
Well, it's standing with intention. It's about grounding yourself, feeling that connection to the earth, and setting you up for everything else.
So it's all about posture because I'm telling you,
Yeah.
after hours at my desk, I'm anything but a mountain.
Exactly. And speaking of counteracting desk job woes, there's downward dog. This is a classic yoga pose, incredible for lengthening your spine, opening up your chest, and stretching those hamstrings that get tight from sitting.
Okay, downward dog, at least I can picture that one. But I don't know if I'm flexible enough for that.
That's the beauty of yoga. You don't have to be a contortionist. It's about listening to your body and where you're at.
The article mentions that a lot, listen to your body. But what does that actually mean when you're doing these poses?
It means paying attention to how each pose feels, and if something feels too intense, you modify it.
Okay.
Like if your hamstrings are tight in downward dog, bend your knees a little.
Hmm.
There's no shame in modifications. You got to make the pose work for you, not the other way around.
So no pressure to be like a yoga master on day one. I like that.
Exactly. And it should never hurt. Yoga should feel good.
All right, so we've got mountain pose, downward dog. What else?
Well, we can't talk yoga without mentioning corpse pose.
Corpse pose. Sorry, the name alone makes me giggle.
I know, right? Dramatic name.
But it's really important.
Seriously, it's like one of the most important poses in the whole practice.
Wait, so you're telling me just lying there is crucial to yoga?
It's more than just lying there. It's about completely relaxing, letting go of all that tension you're holding, letting your mind quiet down. Think of it like a mini vacation for your whole being.
All right, now I'm intrigued. Corpse pose, ultimate relaxation. I'm into it.
It's everyone's favorite. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about a few more of these active poses.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's talk about a pose that, well, it sounds as powerful as it feels. Warrior Eye.
Oh, yeah. Warrior Eye, I was kind of hoping we'd get to that one.
It's a good one.
The name just, I don't know, it makes me feel like I could take on the world.
It's definitely power pose, yeah. So picture this. You step back into a lunge, front knee bent, back leg straight and strong, arms reaching up overhead.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
It's engaging your whole body, building strength and stability, both physically and mentally.
It sounds like it takes some balance, too.
Balance is key. And not just in the, physical sense. It's also about finding that balance between strength and flexibility, effort, and ease.
That's interesting. So the idea of balance kind of goes beyond just the physical pose.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Warrior Eye, it's amazing for opening up your hips and chest, which is especially great if you're like sitting all day.
Yeah, counteracting that desk job hunch.
Exactly. And reaching your arms overhead. That creates space in your upper body, helps with posture, even helps you breathe better.
So Warrior Eye is like a full body tune-up.
I like that, yeah. And the article mentions holding it for 30 seconds on each side.
Oh, right. So you got to switch sides.
You do. It's important to work both sides of your body equally, maintain balance.
Makes sense. You don't want to be lopsided.
It's exactly. Keeps everything aligned.
I'm starting to realize yoga is really a full body, full mind kind of thing.
It really is.
Okay, so after all that warrior energy, I'm ready for something a little more chill. What about child's pose?
Ah, child's pose. This one's all about finding that sense of calm, of surrender.
Okay.
It's a gentle stretch for your back, your hips, your thighs. It's a great pose to come back to anytime you need a moment of rest, or just to check in with yourself.
So it's like a reset button during the practice.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
A chance to reconnect with your breath, to just be present in the moment.
Okay, child's pose is going on my list of favorites for sure.
It's a good one.
Sounds like the perfect way to unwind after a crazy day.
It is.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a few of the poses, but the article also has some good tips for, making this routine work for you.
Right, right.
And one that I really liked, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, is celebrating the small wins.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
It's so easy to get caught up in, like, wanting to be good at yoga, being able to do all the poses perfectly.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
But really, it's about progress over perfection.
So focusing on the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. Like, if you can only hold downward dog for a few seconds, that's still amazing. You showed up, you moved your body, that's a win.
I love that. Celebrating the small wins. It's a good reminder.
It is. And honestly, it's that consistency, that showing up day after day, that's what really makes the difference in the long run.
Right, making it a habit. And speaking of making it work, the article also talks about listening to your body, which we touched on earlier. Are there other ways to make this routine more, I don't know, accessible, especially for beginners?
Absolutely. Modifications are your best friend. Don't be afraid to use props. Like, if you're feeling tight in a pose, grab a block, put it under your hands in downward dog. It can make a huge difference.
So it's about customizing the practice.
Exactly. There's no one right way to do yoga. You got to find what feels good for you, for your body.
This is making me so excited to try this routine. Okay, so we've warmed up with our breath. We've gone through some key poses, talked about modifications, celebrating those small wins. Now it's time for the cool down, right?
Right.
Tell me more about Savasana, that corpse pose we were talking about, and the reflection part that comes after.
Savasana, a lot of people say it's the most important pose in yoga, and for good reason.
Okay, you're really building this up. I'm hooked.
It's in this stillness that, well, the magic happens.
Tell me about this magic.
So after you've been moving and stretching, Savasana gives you that chance to really absorb everything you just did. You lie down on your back, arms by your side, palms up, and just let go.
That sounds so relaxing.
It is.
But is it hard to just lie there and do nothing? I feel like my mind would be racing.
It's natural for your mind to wander, yeah, especially at first. But with practice, you can kind of train your mind to settle down. You can focus on your breath, on how your body feels, or even just watch your thoughts go by without judging them.
So it's about finding that inner peace, that quiet.
Yeah. And that feeling can stay with you even after you get off the mat.
I'm seeing why corpse pose is so important. It's not just physical, it's mental too.
Exactly.
And what about the reflection part? What's the point of that?
Reflection is a powerful way to, really understand what you experienced in your practice and how you could take those lessons into your everyday life.
Okay.
So after Savasana, take a few minutes. Just notice how you feel in your body, in your mind, your emotions. What's different? What are you grateful for?
So it's about connecting the yoga practice to your life off the mat.
That's it. Bringing it all together.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I'm feeling super inspired to try this routine. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing the article emphasizes. Consistency.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
It seems like such a small amount of time, 10 minutes.
Right.
But they really stress that doing it daily, even if it's short, is better than, say, one longer session a week. Why is that? It seems like such a small amount of time, 10 minutes, but they really stress that doing it daily, even if it's short, is better than, say, one longer session a week. Why is that?
It's all about building that habit, making it a ritual, something you do for yourself every day without even thinking about it.
Okay.
Like, think about brushing your teeth.
Right.
It only takes a couple minutes, but you do it
Right.
every day, right? Because it's just part of your routine.
Yeah, it's automatic.
Yoga's kind of like that. By doing it consistently, even if it's just 10 minutes, you're telling yourself, hey, this is important, I'm worth taking care of.
It's like those small actions, they build up over time.
They do. And it's not just physical, it's mental too.
Right, right.
And the more you practice, the more you start to notice those changes. You're less stressed, you feel more grounded, you have more energy.
It's like it becomes a positive cycle.
Exactly.
And
You feel better, so you want to keep practicing, and that makes you feel even better.
it's amazing how something so simple can have such a big impact. So for our listener who's, ready to roll out their mat and give
hmm
this a try, what's your biggest piece of advice?
Honestly, don't overthink it. This routine is all about being simple, accessible.
Right.
You don't need anything fancy, just 10 minutes and a little bit of
I
willingness.
like that. Find the time, make it happen.
Yeah, find a time that works for you and make it non-negotiable.
Make it non-negotiable. So easy to let self-care slip away, especially when things get busy.
It is. So how can our listener actually fit this into their day? I mean, practically
Yes.
speaking.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Look at your routine. See where there are little pockets of time you could use. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier or doing some yoga during your lunch break or even just before bed.
Oh, yoga before bed sounds nice.
It is. The key is to find what works and stick with it.
And it's okay to start small, right?
Totally. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing.
Any progress is good progress.
Exactly. Just keep showing up.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm definitely going to be trying this 10-minute routine. Any last words of wisdom for our listener before they start their yoga journey?
How about this? What's one small change you can make today to create space for this? Maybe it's setting your alarm a little earlier or choosing to move your body instead of scrolling on your phone during your next break. Whatever it is, picture yourself doing it. That little mental shift can make a big difference.
I love that. It all starts with the intention, that commitment to yourself. You deserve those 10 minutes. And hey, you've got this.
You absolutely do. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.